Hi everybody, I really hope you are well. Welcome back to Peaceful Mind, Dreams and Meditation. I would love to share with you another dream that I have had as of February 2022. Another dream about XRP, where I believe that the dream was telling me that XRP was going to be our main form of currency. So have a listen and let me know what you think. So the dream begins. I saw in my dream two electronic pillars that were blue. So let's just imagine, let me try and explain a bit better first of all. Let's just imagine we were stood maybe in Trafalgar Square if you are in London, or maybe is it Times Square if you're in New York? Correct me if I'm wrong. But imagine you're stood in a very big plaza where it's built up. There's lots of trees, lots of buildings, but it's like a paved plaza area. And you can see a huge billboard, which is vertical and reaches kind of very, very high, almost as tall as a skyscraper. But the billboard was electronic and it told you everything you need to know about currency. So it was an information board basically. So I had in my dream, there were two electronic pillars, one blue, so like one like royal blue and one very dark blue. At the top, one of the pillars said XRP in very large white letters, which were illuminated. They could have been made from a hologram, maybe, or just some very tiny little lights to make one big light, if that makes sense. And the other pillar said ITS. In waking, obviously, when I googled ITS to see if there was a different type of crypto that was abbreviated ITS, I couldn't find anything at all. So, but in my dream, ITS was a different form of cryptocurrency. So XRP in my dream was the main form of currency. It was such an important currency that even you had to buy nappies for your babies with XRP, and it would cost maybe like zero point 0.0 of an XRP to like buy cheaper items, or it would be like one or two to buy like a car or things like that. And then ITS was another list of coins. So underneath the term ITS, there were a handful of other different cryptos that were going to be popular at some point, or ones that you needed to have in your collection of crypto. And I believe that this second pillar was maybe a government controlled or government funded crypto. So XRP was obviously for the people that had invested in it in today's time and previous years ago. So I believe in my dream, if you had already invested in XRP, you were fine and you could just handle your own finances, and it would just tell the pillar would go up and down, and it would tell you where the levels were at in regards to like the value of XRP. But if you hadn't got into XRP and invested in anything before the wealth transfer happened and before the huge switch over to digital money happened, then you would have to be part of the ITS scheme, which was government funded and government led. And as we know, if anything is really controlled by the government, it really does control your life in quite a negative way, I would like to think. So if I'm thinking about my dream, if it went into more detail, I could only imagine people struggling, and then sort of ITS was like their means of survival, if that makes sense. So I could see that in my dream, and the pillars were kind of like gently going up and down on like a permanent, regular basis. And then in my dream, there were people selling nostalgic children's toys for thousands and thousands of pounds. So specifically, I was trying to sell a cuddly figurine. I don't think, if there's American people watching this video, I don't think you would know the TV show. But in the UK, there's a TV show that was in the 90s and early noughties that I grew up watching, and it was called The Tweenies. And the specific toy in my dream that I was trying to sell was the character called Jake. I will try and insert a picture on the screen now for you so you can just get a see of what it looks like. And I was trying to sell this Jake toy for £40,000. And I was asking somebody on the phone quite manically how much did they sell theirs for, because I wanted to make sure I got every penny for this toy, as I knew it was worth a lot of money. In my dream also, we had debit cards for cryptocurrency, and everybody had a dark blue debit card with the embossed Ripple logo on it. So on the card, it was basically all navy blue with no barcode, no writing, no name on it or anything like that. And it had the Ripple kind of, I feel like it looks like a flower, but it's obviously the Ripple logo. And it was like the logo was a bit darker than the actual card, and it was raised, so like if you run your finger over it, you could feel the flower logo kind of like being 3D on the card. And every single person had a Ripple debit card in their back pocket, even people that didn't apply for a card or didn't own any XRP. So I think that was a good sign in my dream to suggest that if XRP did become the main form of currency, that you would maybe need a Ripple card to maybe pass through certain buildings, or maybe you'd need it to buy certain food, or maybe you'd need it to get petrol or electricity for your car. But basically everybody had one in their back pocket. People would take one out to pay for stuff, or people would just keep it in their pocket, but you had to have one wherever you were. And then this was a little bit random, but it was still part of the dream. My mum called me about a very good show that was on TV at the time, and it was a show where old YouTubers were taking part in a survival game. So it was like YouTubers that were famous like maybe 2010, 2012, and now they were like a lot older, like in their late 30s and 40s. And they were taking part in a game on telly where they had to cut down trees with axes, make food on a fire, and they were all wearing survival clothing and building tents and things like that. They seemed to be very happy though on the TV, and they weren't behaving as though they were scared, even though they were trying to basically survive and not die kind of thing. There were a couple of YouTubers that specifically I dreamt about, but I won't mention them because I don't know how much you would know those names or not. But the YouTubers were all sat inside a dome, and they seemed to be outside, and it was sunny, and there were brown fallen leaves all over the floor that I could hear like gently crunching as they blew across the floor. The YouTubers were chatting amongst themselves, and they were trying to score points on who was most likely to survive if the scenario was real. So when we were watching on telly, we were thinking, oh gosh, like they have to learn to cut down that tree, otherwise they might lose. But in the perspective of them being in that game, they knew that it was just fake for TV, and they just weren't really bothered if they won or lost any challenges. And I kind of was able to, in my dream, I was able to view the perspective of watching it on the telly, but I was also able to view the perspective of being like a fly on the wall in the actual room that they were in. And I knew that they weren't in a position of fear in real life, as they too had invested in cryptocurrency. But they obviously didn't use their YouTuber status or social power to talk about the importance of cryptocurrency. They all were in on it together, and they all kept it as a secret. And then I woke up. So again, a very interesting dream that is kind of quite important when you think about the likelihood of the money turning from paper and credit and debit card to digital currency, and one that I definitely want to make sure I keep an eye on, so that myself, my children and my grandchildren can be, I don't have grandchildren now, by the way, I'm only in my 30s, but obviously for the future, I just want everybody in my family and around me to just be prepared for the way that the world is going to change, as I do believe the world is going to change very rapidly. So yeah, that was my dream about XRP, another one. I haven't had any more dreams as of yet, but I will definitely be sharing on this channel if I am blessed to be given any insight into what I believe is the future. So thank you so much for taking the time to listen. Take care and God bless.